Hi, today I'm giving a speech on a good friend of mine who was a counselor and vice principal at Greendale High School. This is what he looked like in 1973. I met Jerry Scheel when I was 14 years old. I was in the 7th grade and he was our high school football coach. I must have met him through an older brother. When I went to high school, he was a counselor, gym teacher, driver's ed teacher at Greendale High School in Wisconsin. I remember my freshman year of school when I was in the swimming pool. He was my gym teacher and guidance counselor then. He called me over to the side of the pool. I was in about 10 feet of water, and he said, "John, do you want to be treated like everybody else or differently because you have cerebral palsy?" Of course I answered, "Like everybody else." Then he said, "John, do you know how many warning notes you got for your first quarter of high school?" I said, "No." He said 5. That was one in all of my major subjects. I took a deep breath and I pushed off the side of the pool and went down as deep as I could. And I held my breath until I had to come back up for air. I felt really bad. I was trying, really trying. But after that talk with Jerry and whatnot, I never got another warning note throughout high school again. Jerry, I didn't start calling him that until after high school, but he became a great friend. If it wasn't for him, I might not have finished high school. I would get out of class often to talk to him, and he was one person who motivated me to stay in school. A month or two after starting high school, I turned 16. Most kids are 13 or 14 years old when they enter high school. Plus, plus I was going to school with kids with health issues until I was 14 years old at an orthopedic school. I was older than most kids anyway, at least I felt emotionally. I often acted in front of the other kids. "Gosh, Jerry wants to see me again." He was the type of guy who would ask questions about actions and consequences, and I love that type of thinking. I always thought about things like that since I was 10 years old, and I have always asked, why do we act the way we do daily? Is it conditioning from our parents or from our culture? Why do certain kids turn to drugs? Why do certain kids lose interest in school? How did certain parents treat their children, and why did certain kids rebel where others excelled? I talked to Big Jer about everything, almost except my sexuality. I was afraid of losing his friendship, so I did not go there. I did tell Jerry about my sexuality after I moved to California. He didn't have a problem with it. He did hear rumors about me at a few parties when I was in high school about me smoking pot. Didn't kids in high school back in the 70s know about the Code of Silence? At first I denied it and then I admitted it. I would talk to him about partying as long as it was a question about me. He knew that I would not rat out any of my friends. I didn't drink or get a high all the time in high school. I tried to keep it quiet so my parents wouldn't find out because they were dealing with someone who they knew was dealing with substance abuse issues, and I didn't want to hurt them more than they already had been hurt. The pot was easier on my body than drinking, and I talked to my orthopedic doctor about it, Ray Weissman. He said it was okay just as long as I didn't overdo it. I read a lot about different drugs and how they affect one's body. After all, I was born with brain damage at birth, so I had to read up on things. In high school, I went through phases of partying and not to party. I didn't want it to become a crutch or to cripple me. I knew some kids that parents wanted them to be jocks or to be like their older brothers or siblings, and I would talk to Jerry about how sad certain parents were that they did not want to take the time to know their children for whom they really were. They wanted them to be jocks, look at politics the same way as they did, and also religion as the same way as they did. I guess things haven't changed much after 40 years in this regards after all. I got bored in high school, and yet I had trouble with grammar, history, math, English, and biology. I should have never passed biology, but was given a D- because of effort. Psychology, philosophy, and sociology, Jerry and I could talk hours about this, and we did. One of our longest sessions went over 2.5 hours. He was one of my best friends, but I could not admit this to others in high school because they might have thought I was talking about them. My junior and senior year, Jerry became one of our vice principals. A year after high school, he was driving my sister Sue and his daughter Stephanie. They went skiing and it was snowing. After dropping them off on the way home, the car stalled and he got out to push it, and a car plowed in behind his legs, crushing them. I was living at the UWM dorms going to college then. I heard about it, wrote him a long letter, and he wanted me to come and visit him in ICU. I was sad he was hurt, but felt honored he wanted me to be there so he could talk to me about his legs and his injury. When I moved to California, we stayed in touch, mostly yearly at Christmas time, with a letter or once in a while a phone call. I got along with jocks and hippies and those in between in high school, but at times I was pretty lonely, and I felt old compared to my peers. I would wait for Jerry sometimes after school just to see him a few seconds, as he would walk a daily path walking home. He helped me not only my loneliness, but he was a great coach and influenced many other young people in our lives back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. He passed away July 29th, 2014, at the age of 84 of Alzheimer's. I talked to him on the phone on 40th reunion in 2013. And after that, I had other issues, so I didn't talk to him. I lost touch with him. And I found out that he recently passed away online. Mary is the wife of 56 years, and they had 5 children and 11 grandchildren. Jerry was an educator and administrator for 35 years in Greendale School District. He was an athlete, a football player, and he was in the Stevens Point Hall of Fame of Wisconsin. He also served in the Air Force. He was a great guy and a great friend to many people. He's like a real-life hero, not the kind that we read about or hear about on TV where we just get glimpses of people. He was a real-life person, and I'm sure he'll influence me the rest of my life till the day I die. And this is just one video of many that I like to pay tribute to others and keep their memories alive. Because in time, people forget those who have passed on. Thanks for being my friend, Jerry. Rest in peace. See you on the flip side.